all the way my Savior leads me. Cheers each winding path I tread, gives me grace for every trial, feeds me with the living bread.
Good morning, everybody. Chester ARP Church Devotional Podcast. Clint Davis, your host. You know what we do. We read the Bible. We discuss it. So it's time to jump right in. 2 Samuel chapter 3. Now, yesterday we read the first part of chapter 2. David anointed king over Judah. The Judeans publicly recognize him as king. They coronate him, as it were, by anointing him and setting him over top of them as their king. And right now, David is just the king of Judah. He's been anointed by Samuel as the king of all of Israel, but publicly recognized to be the king of Judah. It seems like everything's going to move smoothly for David now that Saul is dead, and he is now able to come into his throne and come into his reign. And the people of Judah have recognized that, but it's not the case. Abner, who was the commander of Saul's army, took Ishbosheth, the son of Saul, and brought him over to a location and made him king over Gilead and the Asherites and Jezreel and Ephraim and Benjamin, etc. And so all the other 11 tribes have now gone under the rule of Ishbosheth as a result of Abner's actions, and Abner was the general of Saul's army. Now, you can understand how this conflict would continue on. I mean, you got people who are loyal to a king, and so Abner was loyal to Saul and loyal to Saul's family and Saul's house. He would have heard everything Saul said. He would have believed over the years that David has come to steal the throne from him. And so as a result of that, he refuses to recognize David as king, and he puts Saul's descendant, Ishbosheth, on the throne. And as Ishbosheth is on the throne, he is the one who is now king over the different tribes outside of Judah. There's a war that ensues, a battle of Gibeon, and the war continues on, and it's a fierce war between the house of Saul and the house of David. Two men come to the foreground in the end of chapter 2, Abner, who is the general of Saul's army, and Joab, who is the general of David's army. We pick this story up as Abner joins David after he recognizes that his pursuit of Saul's kingdom and the advancement of Saul's kingdom is not worth continuing. And so he picks this up here in verse 1 of chapter 3. There was a long war between the house of Saul and the house of David. David grew stronger and stronger, while the house of Saul became weaker and weaker. And the sons were born to David at Hebron. The first was Amnon of Ahinoam of Jezreel. The second, Chileab of Abigail, the widow of Nabal of Carmel. The third was Absalom, son of Maacah, the daughter of Talmai, king of Geshur. And the fourth, Adonijah, the son of Haggith. And the fifth, Shephatiah, the son of Abital. The sixth, Ithream of Eglah, David's wife. These were born to David in Hebron. So David has 6 wives and 6 sons by them. While there was war between the house of Saul and the house of David, Abner was making himself strong in the house of Saul. Now Saul had a concubine whose name was Rizpah, the daughter of Aiah, and Ishbosheth said to Abner, "Why have you gone into my father's concubine?" Then Abner was very angry over the words of Ishbosheth and said, "Am I a dog's head of Judah? To this day I keep showing steadfast love to the house of Saul your father, to his brothers, to his friends, and have not given you into the hand of David. And yet you charge me today with a fault concerning a woman. God do so to Abner and more also, if I do not accomplish for David what the Lord has sworn to him, to transfer the kingdom from the house of Saul, to set up the throne of David over Israel and over Judah, from Dan to Beersheba." And Ishbosheth could not answer Abner another word, because he feared him. And Abner sent messengers to David on his behalf, saying, "To whom does the land belong? Make your covenant with me, and behold, my hand shall be with you, to bring over all Israel to you." And he said, "Good, I will make a covenant with you. But one thing I require of you, that is, you shall not see my face unless you first bring Michal, Saul's daughter, when you come to see my face." Then David sent messengers to Ishbosheth, Saul's son, saying, "Give me my wife Michal, for whom I paid the bridal price of 100 foreskins of the Philistines." And Ishbosheth sent and took her from the husband of Paltiel, the son of Laish. But her husband went with her, weeping after her all the way to Barum. And then Abner said to him, Go, return. And he returned. After Abner conferred with the elders of Israel, saying, For some time past you have been seeking David as king over you. Now then bring it about. For the Lord has promised David, saying, By the hand of my servant David I will save my people Israel from the hand of the Philistines, and from the hand of all their enemies. Abner spoke to Benjamin. Then Abner went to tell David at Hebron all that Israel and the whole house of Benjamin thought good to do. When Abner came with 20 men to David at Hebron, David made a feast for Abner and the men who were with him. Then Abner said to David, I will arise and go, and will gather all Israel to my lord the king, that they may make a covenant with you, that you may reign over all that your heart desires. So David sent Abner away, and he went in peace. Just then the servants of David arrived with Joab from a raid, bringing much spoil with them. But Abner was not with David at Hebron, for he had sent him away, and he had gone in peace. When Joab and all the army that was with him came, it was told Joab, Abner son of Ner came to the king, and he has let him go, and he has gone in peace. Then Abner went to the king. What have you done? Behold, Abner came to you. Why is it that you have sent him away so that he is gone? You know that Abner son of Ner came to deceive you, and to know your going out and your coming in, and know that all that you are doing. And so we'll stop right there. Eventually Joab will go out and kill Abner. But the story is that Abner decides to join David after he is questioned by Ishbosheth, whom he had made king over all of Israel. Ishbosheth is Saul's son. Abner has made him king over all Israel. And it seems in this story that the men and women of Israel did not want to have Ishbosheth as their king. They wanted David to be their king. We read that when word gets out that Abner has chosen to reject Ishbosheth and to make David and join David and make David king. All the people of Israel said, yes, this is a great idea, especially the people of Benjamin. Perhaps that was because they were tired of Saul's reign. Perhaps that was because they were tired of the war that they were having to fight with David. Perhaps they were ready for a change. Perhaps they recognized and understood that God had anointed David to be king, and so they decided they wanted to have David as their king, and they were ready for it. So Abner was trying to force something on them. Saul's son Ishbosheth was trying to force something on the people that the people didn't want. I always find that an interesting detail to the story. The people wanted David, and then when they got David, we also notice here in this story that the issue is really over a woman. Abner falls in love with Rizpah, the daughter of Ai, who is a concubine of Saul's. And as Abner and her fall in love, he is accused, right, of doing something inappropriate by Ishbosheth. And Abner says, I'm not going to put up with this any longer. You're not going to do this. I've been loyal to you all along. I've been loyal to your father's house. I've been loyal, and you've chosen to ignore my loyalty. You know, I think there's a helpful lesson in this when it comes to Ishbosheth. One of the things that we need to make sure we do is we need to recognize people's past experiences and their background before we make snap judgments. Right? So the idea here is that Ishbosheth making a judgment of Abner with reference to this particular woman, and he's forgotten all of Abner's loyalty in the past and all that Abner has done for Saul and for the kingdom and for the people of Israel and for Ishbosheth. Abner is the one who made Ishbosheth king. And now Ishbosheth's made a mountain out of a molehill and not recognized that there has got to be something more to this story, because Abner has been faithful to the whole house of Saul. And sometimes that can happen in our lives, right? We have people in our lives who have been very faithful, very loyal to us, and we'll get mad about something and we snap. Or we'll be confused about an action they take and we snap, and we don't give them the benefit of the doubt. We don't give them the proper opportunity to explain themselves. We just jump to conclusions as a result of how we feel in the moment, rather than recognizing this person's been loyal to us. This person's been a friend. This person probably has a good reason for doing what he's done or what she's done. And even if not, maybe we can work through it with forgiveness rather than cutting someone off. But I think that's an interesting point. But the point is, God is bringing all these things together, right? And he is bringing everybody back to David, under the reign of David, to establish his kingdom in Israel, because God has promised that through the reign of David, he will bring Israel back. He will free Israel from her enemies. And God will do that in his unique way of working. And so we give God praise for that. We give God thanks. We recognize God is working in the details, even though we may not always see him that way. He's working in all things to bring about his purposes and his glory. You guys have a great day. God bless you. I'll see you tomorrow.
You carry me close to your heart.